All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Golden State Warrior video. Check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Get the brisket chili. It's all good. But I love the brisket. I love the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, Rudy Gay. Warriors signed Rudy Gay. What do you guys think of that? 1-year deal. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN was the first to break it. The veteran Rudy Gay signed a 1-year deal with the Warriors. And he's going to compete for an open roster spot in camp. It will be his 18th season in the NBA. Not a guaranteed deal, not even a guaranteed roster spot. But you know what? Very interesting player. He's 37. God, I can remember when he came out of UConn. It seems like it was just yesterday. He's 37 years of age at this point. Rudy Gay. He's played a bunch of places. He's averaged 15.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 2 assists per game throughout his career. His most efficient season in Sacramento saw him average 21 points a game, 5.9 rebounds a game, 3.7 assists per game, and 1 steal. Spent 4 seasons with the Kings and then moved on to the San Antonio Spurs and eventually joined the Utah Jazz for the past 2 NBA seasons, where he averaged a lot less, 5.2 points per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, and 1 assist per game. And he's here to ring chase. You know, he's chasing a ring. He'd like to win a title. And he's going to attempt to ring chase with the Warriors in the closing years of his career. The Warriors have a strong team, but it's an older team. It's an aging team. And, you know, you think of the Warriors, there's a lot of age on this team. The Warriors starting 5 is likely going to consist of 4 players who are age 33 or older. So you got Chris Paul, and of course, Chris Paul's 38. The youngest starter would be Andrew Wiggins. He's 28. And the rest of the guys are older. Draymond's older, Steph's older, Clay's older. And now you're adding Rudy Gay. And Rudy Gay, obviously, is an older player at 37. You know, the Warriors have been one of the great dynasties of all time over the last decade. And, you know, they're kind of fighting father time here to try to, you know, get Steph Curry one more ring. And they want a solid core of veterans, guys that they can depend on. They want a better culture than they had last year. Gay would be in a bench option for Steve Kerr at this point. You know, I don't think they have any delusions that he's going to be anything spectacular. But at the same time, Rudy Gay's a veteran, and he's been there, and he can play off the bench, and he can play a role, and he can probably give you some good minutes. Now, who else do the Warriors have in the front court? Because that's Rudy Gay at this point. I mean, you know, he's a small forward, power forward type. I mean, he's probably more of a small forward career-wise, but at this point, you know, he's a combo 3-4. But you got Jonathan Kuminga, and you've got Usman Garuba, was signed to a two-way contract. I really like Garuba. He shoots 41% from 3. He's got 7'2" wingspan, long arms, can run the floor. He can defend. His 3-point shot's really coming on. So Garuba gives you a nice bench piece. They added both Chris Paul and Corey Joseph in the offseason, and both those guys take care of the basketball. I mean, that's the one thing Golden State struggled with last year is turnovers. And not the one thing, but that is one of the elements that they struggled with. And Chris Paul doesn't turn it over. Corey Joseph doesn't turn it over. So those guys should help on that front. They added Pajemski in the draft. The Santa Clara kid can flat out stroke the basketball. He can really shoot. Also in the front court, you got Moses Moody. I guess you could say he's a 2-3. He's probably more of a 2. But you got Kevon Looney, who's very dependable 4-5, power forward and center. Really, really good player. Kevon Looney's a very, very underrated player. And then they added Dario Saric, who gives them that perimeter shooting big and a high basketball IQ, kind of a 4-5 as well. You got Draymond Green, who in many of the Warriors lineups is a 5. And, you know, a guy like Rudy Gay, you know, and Golden State doesn't want to waste Steph Curry's twilight years with a bunch of kids that don't know how to play. Their whole thing is we want guys this year who know how to play basketball. They drafted Trace Jackson Davis. What was the attraction of Trace Jackson Davis? Another 4 or 5. He might be more of a 5, undersized 5. Trace Jackson played a full year in the Big Ten, a full career, I should say, in the Big Ten. He averaged like 20 and 10, I think, this last year for Indiana. So he's kind of a veteran, even though he's a rookie. He's played a lot, very mature player. Draymond Green, obviously a veteran, mature player. Looney is a very underrated big man. Saric has got great basketball IQ. He doesn't quite move as fluidly as he did pre-injury, but Dario Saric has got some ability. He knows how to play. He knows how to play off the ball. I mean, that's the one thing with Golden State. You got to know how to play off the ball. They require ball movement and body movement, and body movement means you move when you're not on the ball. You move well off the ball. Well, to move well off the ball, you got to know how to play. And oftentimes young players don't know how to play, and they don't move well off the ball, and everything just stagnates. But now you add Corey Joseph and Chris Paul and Dario Saric. Garuba is a young player, but he's still a veteran. He's been in the league a number of years. You got Kuminga, who's, I think Kuminga is going to be the guy who plays huge minutes this year. And he's got great length. I mean, we're talking about a 6'9", 6'10", combo forward. Kuminga is really, really intriguing. And now you add Rudy Gay to that mix. So overall, I kind of like the pickup. As long as he's healthy, as long as he wants to be here, I think Rudy Gay, could be really, really interesting for Golden State. Just from the standpoint of, the guy knows how to play basketball. And it's not like you're going to sit there and Steve's going to introduce concepts and Rudy Gay is going to be like, I don't know what to do. Rudy Gay's a pro. I've always liked Rudy Gay. He was born in Brooklyn, and he's just a very talented basketball player. He was a talented player at Connecticut. Played there in 2004 through 2006. He was a lottery pick once upon a time back in the 2006 draft by the Rockets. He went 8th overall, and he's been around, right? I mean, you're talking about a guy who was drafted by the Rockets, then played with Memphis from 06 through 2013. Then he played for Toronto. Then he played for Sacramento, then the Spurs, then the Jazz, and now the Warriors. And, Rudy Gay knows how to play. He actually knew how to play going back to Connecticut. He was well coached at Connecticut. He's evolved. He's a smarter player than he was then. I mean, Rudy Gay's been on the radar a long time. He was a McDonald's All-American going back to 2004. He was a first-team Parade All-American at Connecticut in 2004. He was the Big East Rookie of the Year his first year at Connecticut. First team All Big East in 2006. All Rookie team, first teamer in 2007. He's had a really good career. Really, really good career. And maybe he can win a ring here. He's played internationally. He played for the FIBA World Championships and got the gold medal in 2010. So, he's been around the block. He gets a 1-year deal. He's got to make it. We've got to see what he does in camp. If he doesn't play well, they can cut him. But as far as Steve wants veterans who are, going to be good for their chemistry, who know how to play basketball. He doesn't want to, it's one thing to blend to Steph and Clay and Draymond and what the Warriors are doing, but you got to know how to play basketball. If you're trying to learn how to play basketball at the NBA level, it's going to be a real challenge. I think the Warriors were open-minded to that in the past, and obviously they drafted a very raw player in Jonathan Kuminga. They had a very young team last year. But now Kuminga's emerging. He has more experience. He has more knowledge. And they just want to surround Steph Curry with a few veteran role players that potentially can get them over the top. And they're hoping Rudy Gay's it. I'm really eager to see how much lift he has left in his legs, how many minutes he can play. I'm really eager to see what kind of role Steve Kerr has for Rudy Gay. But, man, if you're chasing a ring, it's not a bad place to come. 49ers. Warriors were a really, really strong team last year. I mean, they They went as deep as they could go. They almost made it to the conference finals, not quite. It's funny how most years that would have been an incredible year, but the Warrior fan now is somewhat spoiled. But Rudy Gay knows how to play, and you're adding another guy to the mix who knows how to play basketball, who can play off the bench and give Kerr some quality minutes. So overall, I'd have to say good pickup. Good pickup by the Warriors. What's he going to look like this summer? Who knows? He could get to training camp. We could see him in the preseason, and he could be washed up. He could, his legs could be gone, and he could just be, he could be basically retired without filing the paperwork. Or he might still have a little something left. So, September preseason games or October preseason games are going to be really interesting to watch from that perspective. What does Rudy Gay have left? There's no risk. There's no risk in adding Rudy Gay. But there's some upside because he is a veteran. He does know how to play. He can play multiple spots, and he knows how to play basketball. So, should be an interesting one. He's a name that the fans will know for sure right away. And he's been around the block, and he can impart some wisdom to some of the young players in the room for sure. We'll see how it works out. But the Warriors adding Rudy Gay to the mix, thinking title. They're thinking, hey, maybe things break right for us? We can sneak into the finals and get Steph another ring. I don't know if it's going to happen. Sacramento's improving. Denver is obviously several levels above. Milwaukee now with the trade of Damian Lillard looks like a major force in the East with Giannis and Lillard on the same team. So, the idea that the Warriors and Steph Curry are going to get another title may be a pipe dream. But, Rudy Gay is the kind of high upside, intelligent veteran cog that Kerr is looking for. And we'll see, Dunleavy and Kerr want that veteran piece. We'll see if he can help them get over the top. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.